Hey everybody, this is Mia talking to you today about collars. One of the most frequent questions that I get is which collar is best for my dog? And honestly, I can't really answer that question unless I've met your dog. So if you're already part of my pack or I've done an evaluation for you, I've already told you which collar I think is going to work best for your needs and for your dog. If you are not part of my pack and I haven't met your dog, you're not going to get a good answer just from an internet video, but I will talk to you about the different collars that are out there and things that I think work well in different situations. But I encourage you, before you choose one for your dog, talk to your trainer and get a very specific recommendation. Hopefully I'm your trainer and I've already told you what's best, but just in case, here we go. So T's going to give us a little pan here and show you everything that I've got out on the counter to talk about. You may notice that some of these are very well loved. First thing I'm going to talk about, if you know me, you are immediately wondering why this exists in my life. People give me stuff all the time. This is a harness. I absolutely do not recommend this for walking your dog. There are 3 very specific situations that I think a harness is great, and I'll tell you what they are, but none of them involve just taking a nice stroll with your dog. Situation number 1, if you need to pull something like a sled across the Alaskan tundra or a heavy cart, then harnesses are great because harnesses are designed for dogs to pull things. If you have a very, very small dog, like a little Yorkshire Terrier or a miniature poodle, that you want to be able to pick up very quickly while you're out for a walk, harnesses are great because the leash is attached right here. If you need to pick up your dog, you're not putting all of the pressure directly on their throat like you are going to be with a flat collar. Harnesses are good for that. If you think that's not an actual issue, watch somebody sometime if they're out walking their very small dog and there's a hawk circling overhead. You want to be able to pick up that dog really quickly. And thirdly, if your dog is a little nutty in the car and you need to attach them to a seatbelt, harnesses again are fantastic because if you have to stop quick and that seatbelt does its job to stop your dog from flying, you don't want them to get caught with too much pressure just on their neck. A harness is going to be good for that. Otherwise, please get rid of the harness. If your dog is pulling, putting a harness on your dog is not going to stop them from pulling. It's only going to give them the strength to pull more. So harnesses, 90% of the time, no. That's a harness. Next collar we have is your standard flat collar. It usually has a clip of some sort. It has a ring to attach the leash to. You can also put tags on that if you want to. And it's some sort of cloth material. It's pretty comfortable for a dog to have on all the time. We call this a flat collar. Once you have a really well-behaved dog who follows the rules and walks nicely on a leash, flat collars are fantastic. My dogs currently don't wear their tags on their collar because I don't like the tags to be able to get caught on anything and pull. They have embroidered their name and phone number on the collar. But this is an older one from my dog Gigi, and a flat collar is just that. It's really not something that you want to use during training because it puts all the pressure directly on the trachea for your dog, and they can very easily slip their head out of it. But flat collars are fantastic after your dog is a graduate and you just want to have some sort of identification and something you can clip a leash onto quickly if you need to. This is a biothane collar. It's a different material. It's not great in the very hot summertime because it's more of a plastic type material and the sweat can really gather underneath it, but it is perfect to attach an e-collar to, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But this is a standard biothane collar. You can cut them off to customize the fit for your dog, or you can get them with a quick clip. So once you have established the proper length for your dog, now you just have a clip to put it on and off with. But that's biothane. Again, it has a clip to attach tags to or attach a leash to if you need to. Next up, we have a training collar. These used to be called choker chains. This one's a pretty little blue. Don't think for one second that just because it's pretty, it's not a less than popular thing. What happens is that when you put this on your dog and you jerk the leash, it gives them a little tug. Again, this is a wonderful tool if you have a graduate who already knows the rules because it can give you a real quick reminder that your dog is not following the rules. It is not something that I highly recommend for a dog who's learning because it's putting all of the pressure directly on one single point of failure right at their trachea. But that's what this is. It's called a training collar. They come in lots of different sizes and they are real simple to use. After your dog graduates, it's fantastic. Next up would be a training collar in cloth. This was my dog's. This was Pony's. His rabies tag is still hanging on it. I haven't taken it off and put it on the other collar because, like I just explained, I really don't like to have tags on their collars anymore. Too easy to get caught in things. But it works exactly the same way as the other training collar. You put it on your dog, and then if they need a quick little correction, you can do that. Lots of pressure on one single point, so I don't like that for training or for learning. I do like it for graduates. Next up, we have a prong collar. It looks like a medieval torture device. It is not, I promise. Prong collar works under the same concept as a training collar. However, because it has these little prongs, what happens is that when you give the dog a correction, I'm going to put my hand in there. When you give the dog a correction, instead of all of the pressure being directly on your dog's trachea, instead of one single point of failure, you get an all-around correction with the little prongs all around their neck. So you're not putting all of the force on one area. You're getting a 360 correction. The benefit of the prong collar as well is that it takes about 1/10 the amount of pressure for your dog to get that information from you that it does when you're looking at the training collar. So what that translates to is when you are out with your dog and mostly when you're training, when they're learning, they can only pull with 1/10 of their strength before they realize, hey, I'm probably not supposed to do that. And that you only need to use about 1/10 of your strength to give them a little pop to remind them you're not quite with the program and I'd like you to get back in line. I love a prong collar. You may see some with the little rubber caps on the ends. They do nothing. They do absolutely nothing to be helpful. It is not more humane to have the little rubber caps on the ends. What happens there is that it impedes the pinch. So instead of your dog getting a pinch and a correction at 1/10 the strength, you need to really pull on that at about 80 to 90% of your strength. And then what happens is that as you're pulling with 80 to 90% of your strength, one of those little rubber caps can come off, and now this metal thing is really going hard into your dog's skin. So don't be fooled that just because it looks kinder that it is. The way this is designed right here is perfect, and this is what I really like to do to train. Next up is the big coup de grace. This is an e-collar. I do not get any kickback from this company whatsoever. I just happen to believe it is the very best product on the market. It is the only one that I recommend, and it is the only one that I prefer to work with. This is by e-collar Technologies. This is called the Mini Educator. And this is an e-collar. What this does is it simulates the communication a dog would have out in the world, or excuse me, out in a pack if they were living in a wild dog pack. So out in a pack, if a dog breaks the rules, the alpha dog in that pack will give them a little nip at the neck or a nip at the leg. It's really difficult to keep this around the dog's leg, so we put it around their neck. And what happens is that when they break your rules and you give them a little stim from the remote, it gives them a little nip right at their neck. So what you're doing is you're taking your human English thought, you're translating it into dog language that they understand. And boom, now we can communicate very well. This is an e-collar. You can use the vibration function. The vibration feels very much like your cell phone in your hand when it vibrates. Or you could use the stim function. Some people call them shock collars. That's not inaccurate. It just doesn't really convey appropriately the wonderful tool that this is. But yeah, it gives a little shock. And in another video, I will show you what it feels like. I'll shock myself and you can see it. I'll let you know right now, I used to have straight hair. I don't, but that's not true. I never had straight hair, but that's a good joke. You can use it if you like. But that is an e-collar. And you can change out these prongs for different situations. And when I do more information about e-collars, I'll show you the different things there. All right, next up, leashes. This is my favorite. It's my favorite because I have a German Shepherd and a nice medium-sized terrier. And so it's perfect because it's only a foot long. And when we are out on the leash, when we're walking, they're working. It's not time for them to play and explore. So they walk right next to me with their little 1-foot leash. And when they have earned some playtime, some freedom, I take the leash off. Now they know they're not working, they can go and play. But this is my favorite. It sits right at my side. I'm gonna move over here a little bit. So when I'm walking with my very relaxed arm, my dogs are right here at my side. That's all you really need. That's my favorite. And it has a padded handle, so it's very comfortable to carry. All right, some other leashes that are appropriate for different times. This is a 4-foot leash. That's my preferred length when I need a little length. Some people like a 6-foot leash. I feel like that's just too much. You don't need that much after your dog is done training. Really, this is because you want your dog to be able to go to the bathroom and not on your shoe. So with a 4-foot leash, they can go to the end of the leash, do their thing, and then come right back. They still shouldn't be pulling on it though. This is another 4-foot leash, just a different style. Again, it has a nice little padded handle, but I like that it gives the dog enough freedom to go do what they want to do, but then come right back into a nice heel. And last but not least, because I have 2 dogs, this is one of my favorite little tools. This is a coupler or a tandem. What you do is you attach your leash to the ring here at the top. Now you can put your dogs together. So while you're walking, instead of managing more than one leash, you've got both dogs right here. If you've got one dog who's still in training and one dog who's a graduate, sometimes it's a little difficult because you want to offer a correction to one and not the other, but you can learn to do it like a marionette. But when you get to the point when both your dogs are graduates and they know how to walk properly on a leash, this is just brilliant. You will love this. It's easy to walk and easy to take care of everybody. And so, there you have it. There's your little rundown on collars and leashes. Lots of great information to be had about each of these different products. The only collar I didn't show you that I use sometimes is a martingale collar, and mostly because the martingale collars I had available are currently on dogs, and I didn't want to have to take them off. But a martingale is kind of a cross between a flat collar and a training collar. Nothing wrong with those at all. Those are nice if you want to have something on your dog that they can wear all the time and be comfortable, but you also want that added ability to be able to give them a little correction if they need it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We've been talking about collars and leashes today. I am Mia Samuda. I'm a dog trainer, just reminding you that you can teach your old dog new tricks, but your puppy is not going to just grow out of it. Love and belly rubs.